What is up, guys? Welcome back to Just a Guy on My Lunch Break. My name is Corey. I will be your host today. Got an interesting topic today. We're going to talk a little bit about, hey, what are those warning signs that you've taken too much Kratom? You know, for those of us who have been using Kratom for a while, for a prolonged sort of period, we've all been there, right? We've all been to that place where you're like, oh, damn. I think I overdid it a little bit. I know I've been there a few times. And I got a comment from one of my listeners named Joy that I'm going to talk about. And she's relatively new to Kratom, but I'm not surprised to learn that ultimately she has also had the experience that many of us have had. She had an experience recently where she was like, oh, I must have taken too much. So she reached out to me about that and kind of wanted me to talk a little bit about it. And so I'm going to read her comment. And then I just have a couple more comments in here where in the past few days we've been talking about kind of prolonged use of Kratom. You know, I had some folks expressing some concerns about what that might be doing to our innards, you know, organs and such. And, you know, these are concerns that anyone who has used Kratom, or especially if you've used Kratom for a prolonged period of time. These are questions, concerns that we all kind of have. You know, it's not something that we really talk about very often. That's where Just a Guy on My Lunch Break comes in. I talk about the shit. We talk about the shit. And collectively, we talk about the shit. And I think that's one of the reasons folks love the channel, because these are things and topics that people silently wonder about, but they don't really have a free forum to discuss those things. So I think that's one of the reasons my channel is gaining some popularity there. Speaking of, that's a good segue into, if you have not subscribed to the channel, the first one's free. If you've watched a couple of my videos, now you gotta pay. Your payment is hitting that subscribe button. It doesn't take but a couple of seconds, and it helps me out. And we're only 6 subscriptions away from 600, guys. Yes, way to go. And that's one step closer to 1,000. And you know, just here to help a lot of people. And it's interesting because, you know, the flavor of my channel is not for everyone. I tend to get on rants. I tend to ramble. I've gotten a lot of really good positive feedback, and then I've had a couple of people say, "Hey man, I was about to turn the video off. You're taking too long to get to the point." I blame my mom for that shit. My mom's really bad about that. But no, I mean, you know, it is true. I'm just a guy on my lunch break. I don't edit this stuff. You know, oftentimes I'm just coming off the dome with whatever. You know, whatever that I'm regurgitating at that moment, and that is what you get sometimes. So if I'm not getting to the point fast enough, sorry about that. I'll try to do better, but I can't make any promises. I can't. So Lyn Francis left a comment the other day. Hi Corey, Merry Christmas to you and your family. So I started using Kratom back in October to help me get off of an opiate. It worked. Wow. So now I enjoy the energy that it offers me, and I'm still working on the sweet spots for energy and the relaxing dosages. So I had the bad, quote unquote, experience. I took too much for the first time, and I barfed. And I couldn't keep anything down for hours. Wow. Anyway, I was sweating, and it even leaked into the following day. So my question is, what is the typical symptoms of taking too much other than throwing up? I was surprised at how sick it made me, and even the next day, I was a little queasy. Thanks for being a soundboard for so many of us. You make it very easy to talk about things. I like that about you. Plus, you're funny and easy on the eyes, too. Oh, thank you, Joy. I really appreciate that. Hey, I'm here to help. I'm here to help. I'm happily married, so no come on. No, none taken, none taken. You know, my mom is 76 years old, and I still to this day, her friends, your son's so handsome. You know, they're 30 years my senior, so trust me. I take it for what it is, but I do appreciate the compliment nonetheless. Just want you to know you're easy to talk with, and that's a gift. I have that also. I'm a realtor, but my husband always says I'm more like a therapist. Some days I completely agree. I can see that about you, by the way, Joy, and we've had several conversations on here. And Joy's been watching the channel for a while and is very interactive with it, and I appreciate that, by the way. So, to address your comment, let me just say, you're not crazy. This isn't a one-off sort of experience that is just a joy thing. This is something that a lot of us, if we've been using Kratom for a while, have dealt with this sort of thing. And you've shared this experience, and I think one of the best ways for me to answer this is to actually share a couple of experiences I've had in return. And then maybe when you hear that, you'll be like, okay, I see. And really, you know, the bottom line answer to how to avoid this is just simply going to be moderating your use. That's all it is. Kratom is plant material. You know, most of us, our digestive systems aren't designed for, and we're not accustomed to digesting plant material. Let's just be real about that. Especially ground up plant material like that. And so for a lot of people, it just becomes quite too much. And this is something that is a very common problem for my wife, in fact. And one of the very reasons that my wife is a very, very mild user of Kratom. She loves the effects of it, especially if she takes a couple of capsules in the morning, has a cup of coffee, gets the energizing effects from it, gets kind of the mood lift to get her day started. But then she won't take it throughout the rest of the day, because it has been shown in her time and time again that if she goes back and doses again a couple hours later or a few hours later or whatever, she will absolutely 100% of the time get queasy. And she'll get to the point where the experience goes from, oh, this is fun, this is cool, to see, now I feel queasy. Now I'm not enjoying it anymore. Now I know I need to go get something on my stomach ASAP so that I can stop feeling this way, that sort of thing. And she has, in fact, a couple of times thrown up, regurgitated. So one of the experiences I had was several months back when we had gone to the mountains for vacation for a few days. The thing about me at this point is I had been off of Kratom for a little while. I was off of it close to a month. We went on vacation. I was like, well, I want to enjoy my vacation. I'm going to take some Kratom on my vacation. So I did. Probably went a little hard in the paint on how much I was taking, especially considering I had kind of reset my tolerance and hadn't really been taking it for a while. So I remember the day we were coming home, and we had been there for 3 days, and I was pretty much just no holds barred, just pounding Kratom whenever I felt like it while I was on vacation. Not a good move, by the way. That very morning that we left to go home, I mixed, you know, Kratom up in my orange juice, and I got to the bottom of the container, right? And I had already put my usual scoop that I had, that I usually take, you know, like a heaping teaspoon, which is usually what I take. I put that in there, and I look in the bottom of the container, I'm like, damn, there's not enough left to really make another helping, you know. That might be too much for me to take all at one time, but fuck it. You know, I just dumped the rest of it in the orange juice, right? I drink mine with orange juice. Mixed it up in there, frothed it up, drank it. Proceeded to drink my morning cups of coffee. I was fine. At least I felt fine for probably a good hour after that. Like I said, we were checking out this morning, driving back. I have an SUV. I drive an SUV, and my wife, God bless her, she's just an amazing person, but she's a very anxious individual when it comes to driving in places where she's not familiar, especially if it's a lot of traffic, especially if we're in the mountains where there are a lot of curvy roads. She just really gets nervous in those situations. So I always do the driving, right? 100% of the time we go on vacation somewhere, I'm driving. She doesn't like to. She gets super nervous, and plus she drives a little tiny sports car, like a Veloster. I drive, you know, pretty sizable SUV, so the size of my vehicle makes her nervous, all that. Point being, I always drive. Well, this morning, get all our car packed up, we leave, we get down the mountain. I get about 10 to 15 minutes down the mountain, and I'm like, oh man. I tried my best not to say anything. I knew that she did not want to drive, so I tried to be a man about it and suck it up. We've got my baby in the back, you know, so I really felt pretty embarrassed that I got myself in this situation, because obviously I would never want to endanger my wife or endanger the baby. And to be honest, I not only was starting to feel queasy, but I was getting a little bit of those kratom wobbles, which is kind of a follow-up to what your question was here. You said, what are the typical symptoms of taking too much other than throwing up? The main one that I have experienced, Joy, is called kratom wobbles. Meaning, when you take too much of it, you'll get this kind of detached head sort of feeling. And it's one of those things when you turn, it's like you turn, but then it takes your eyes a second to catch up. So you're just like constantly like dizzy, especially when you look from one side to the other. Very, very disconcerting symptom, side effect. If you guys experience these kratom wobbles, leave a comment down below. I guarantee a lot of you guys have experienced it before. Anyone who's been taking kratom for a while at some point has probably experienced this, right? And I'm surprised, Joy, that you haven't experienced it. You may just be, you know, I know you've not been on it, but since October, so you might just be at moderate enough doses where it hasn't really affected you that way. And I don't know if strain necessarily has anything to do with it. For me, I always take kind of the same green strain, but this was an alarming side effect for me, the nausea, that is, because I am a person with an absolute cast iron stomach. Really, the only time in my life that I've ever thrown up has been, you know, a couple of times here and there where I drank really, really, really heavily or something like that, and I would throw up. I mean, that's been probably a decade or more. I'm not a huge drinker, but I have, you know, a few times, handful of times in my life, drank enough to where I threw up. Outside of that, I may have thrown up once, maybe twice in my life when I wasn't drinking, right? So I'm just not a person that throws up, you know, have a cast iron stomach. This day, I literally thought I was gonna. As much as I didn't want to have to put the responsibility of driving on my wife, looked at her, I was like, babe, I'm sorry. I think I'm gonna have to pull over. I think you might have to take the reins for a few minutes. She didn't want to do it, but she knew that I wouldn't be saying this to her unless I was really feeling some sort of way. Not only was I queasy and like a little bit dizzy because of the amount that I had taken, but you know, I've got my family with me, and there was no way on God's green earth that I was gonna, you know, put my family in danger. Usually I'm very familiar with the effects of kratom. Usually I am absolutely completely fine to operate machinery, and as you guys know, it doesn't affect you in that way, and it doesn't affect me in that way typically. But this is one of those days where I just had to pull over and let her drive, because I never did throw up, because I'm a person that hates to throw up. And it was one of those things where she asked me, like, if you throw up, you might feel better. I'm like, nope. I hate throwing up. Hate it. Okay? I'm not a person that, well, let me just stick my finger down my throat, barf it all up, and I'll feel better. Nah. I will avoid that shit like the plague all I can. And I did. But what I had to do was get in the passenger seat. I sat in the passenger seat. I went just like this. And I rode like that for probably about an hour. And it made me incredibly sleepy as well. So I didn't really sleep, but I was kind of dozing in and out of consciousness a little bit, which was fortunate, because what happened is about an hour and a half passed, and when I finally kind of woke up and came to, I was feeling a lot better. I guess it had progressed on down into my digestive system. I wasn't really, the queasiness had subsided by a pretty significant amount by that point. So fortunately, never did throw up. I've actually never thrown up due to Kratom. I know that's hard to believe because I've been a regular user of it for over 4 years now, for the most part. But I've never actually barfed from it. But Joy, this is not a thing that is out of the ordinary. And it's one of those things where a lot of times, people purposely don't eat before they dose on Kratom, because if your belly's full and you eat a big fat meal and then take Kratom, in some ways, and all of you who are part of the Kratom community know what I'm talking about, you'll mess up your buzz. You'll completely mess your buzz up because you won't get the full effects of the Kratom because your digestive system is too busy digesting the big meal that you just ate. So it won't be absorbing all the alkaloids that you need. Everybody knows you can get a better Kratom buzz on an empty stomach. Let's just get real. That's what I do on here. We're honest, right? And most people who've been using Kratom for a while know that and understand that, so they don't eat. But then that's a double-edged sword, because if you don't eat, you don't have any food on your stomach to settle it, then you're pounding back a large amount of Kratom and maybe take a little bit more than you normally do, or you dose too soon. Like you don't wait 3, 4, 5 hours, like, you know what, let me just take another dose, and it's only been an hour since you've taken it. It is rather easy, depending on how sensitive your digestive system and your stomach are, it is easy to kind of overdo it sometimes and get to that point where you're like, oh yeah. I mean, there's people that throw up from it, there's people that barf. The Kratom wobbles is a big thing. That's something that I've experienced multiple times. Just the feeling like your head is floating and you turn this way and turn that way and everything's just doing this when you do it. It's not so bad if you're looking straight on, but if you cut your eyes to the right or to the left or turn your head one way or the other, you just get this. That's why they call it the wobble. It's a very wobbly sort of sensation, very disconcerting, very uncomfortable, and really the only thing that fixes it is just time's got to pass, and it's just kind of got to work its way out of your system. But anyway, hope that helps. As far as the immediate symptoms of taking too much, those are really two of the main ones. The throwing up, the wobbles. I did get, when I was on the extracts one time, it's another quick story, I took too many of the extracts in one day. This was years ago, and I did experience the sweating that you're talking about. I had the wobbles, sweating, I was shaking, like very, very just overall horrible feeling. And again, I didn't throw up. I probably could have easily made myself throw up during that time, but it was one of those where it really concerned me. And my wife was concerned about me. She got behind me and just kind of rubbed me and loved on me and was like, it's okay, it's okay. I was like, oh my God, it's terrible. It was a really, really bad experience. I've never had that experience since then, because I'm kind of conscious of it now. It's interesting. You have a couple of really bad experiences like that. You tend to be a little gun shy in the future, but maybe that's a good thing, So best thing I can say, Joy, is if you're going to continue to take the Kratom, figure out what it is you did different this particular day that maybe caused you to have that, to have to throw up and you were queasy the next day, all that. Whether it was that you took the doses too close together, or if you were just taking too much. And I will say one thing that might help that is you don't have to eat a big full meal and risk not being able to get the effects of the Kratom, but it might not be a bad idea to put a little something on your stomach. Pack of crackers, eat a piece of bread, eat half a bagel or something like that, and that'll probably kind of help settle things in there so it's just not so much of a shock to your system when your body absorbs all of that all at once. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna move on from that. Thanks for the comment, Joy. TT11 says, don't forget the importance of electrolytes, sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium. They are as important as water to stay hydrated and helps you properly absorb all the water you drink. Thanks for the video. And thanks for the comment. That's some really, really good advice. Excuse me. That is true, and something to be aware of as well. If you drink a very large amount of water, it does serve to keep you hydrated, but as TT11 here says, it can throw off some of those really important electrolytes that control things, you know, like your mood and energy level, all that stuff. So the sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium, may not be a bad idea to take a supplement of those things, like a multivitamin, you know, along with not just the kratom, because kratom tends to, you know, your body prioritizes digesting that kratom. So if the kratom is the first priority for your digestive system, then the other things that you eat and stuff like that are coming second and third, you know. So then your body is not able to absorb all of the nutrients as efficiently as it normally would, because it's prioritizing all this kratom that you're taking, right? Which is another reason I think it's really important to only take a few doses a day. If you're going to be a regular user, don't be one of those people like I've been doing for the past month and a half and be popping 5-6 spoonfuls a day. I just think that's too much, and I think that gets to a point where it's really unhealthy for you at that point. And you know, I don't want to see people have that kind of relationship with kratom. You know, if you're going to take it for benefits, let it be beneficial. You know, don't let it be something that's making you sick or is causing you to get bloated or you know, having these wobbles and all these horrible, disconcerting side effects and symptoms. Ryan Kittle 3431 says kratom may cause acute kidney, liver, and heart issues. Hey, we talk about the good on here, talk about the bad and the ugly. I don't discriminate. You guys know me. I don't land on either side of the fence. If we're going to talk about the positive benefits of kratom, we're going to be real about some of the downfalls and potential pitfalls of kratom as well. Acute being dysfunction while on kratom. But on cessation, you should have the return of normal function of organs. That's the key right there, up on cessation. And that's the good news. That's the silver lining. Upon either stopping, and cessation can also not necessarily mean getting completely off of it, but cessation can also mean coming down, decreasing, not taking as much, you know. And that goes back to, I feel like it's important to only take it a few times a day, you know, and that allows your body to have time to deal with the kratom, get rid of it, and then process meals, process water, get rid of toxins that are built up. You know, if you're just constantly pounding kratom, never drinking water, barely eating anything, and your body is spending, you know, 75% of, if you're on a kratom diet and your body is spending 75% of its time trying to deal with this kratom and not able to deal with other you know, healthy things that you're taking into your body, that's not good. That's a problem. And that's when it starts to become toxic, right? And your body can't excrete it and get rid of it. So it starts to build up and it starts to store in your system and store in your organs and, you know, cause all these, you know, I don't want to say organ failure, but issues with like your liver, your kidneys, heart, that sort of thing. So, you know, just be moderate. You know, moderation is a huge thing with something like kratom. I really believe that. Ryan Kittle also says bright yellow urine can either be dehydration or excess B vitamins the body is flushing out. That's very true. I had a guy yesterday really concerned about his urine being bright yellow, and he thought it might be related to prolonged kratom use. I doubt that. I think that could have to do with dehydration. You know, if you are taking a large amount of kratom, obviously that's no bueno, you know, and your body will get to a point where it'll start becoming toxic because of the amount of kratom you're taking. So again, you know, moderation is everything. And if you're taking kratom at all, you need to be doing these other things healthily, right? And you guys know me, I'm not campaigning against kratom on here. But I am one of those people, if you're gonna take it, try your best to be healthy and responsible in other areas of your life, okay? Because if you don't, the kratom is gonna go from good to bad to ugly to really ugly. And you don't want that. You don't want that, you know, and that's not doing you any good, right? At Mick Clay says, I had blood work done while I was taking a ridiculous amount of extracts and had been on them for a couple of years and had been on the powder for several years before that. Everything came back good except cholesterol being slightly elevated. I used to be a fairly heavy drinker. Now I'm almost a non-drinker. I lift weights, do cardio, walk my dogs 10 miles a day. Based on what he's saying, I'm assuming he probably eats pretty well and, you know, probably stays hydrated and stuff as well. Based on my experience and what other guys have to say, it does cause frequent urination and hesitation. I'm glad I read this comment, and I don't have but a couple of minutes left, so I'm probably going to end on this. That's a really good one. Urinary hesitation. That's something I should have put in my response to Joy. I don't know if this is something that affects women the same way. My wife doesn't take enough to, you know, have this issue, but I'm telling you, when I've taken a large amount of kratom in one day, there have been times where I have gone to take a piss and it has taken me a good 60 seconds, maybe even more, a good 60 seconds to even start the flow of urine. And this also is directly related to, you know, the muscles that control orgasming, you know, and it also, it's all connected down there. You can't feel anything down there, so it's hard to piss, hard to get an erection. If you do get an erection, it's hard to have an orgasm. It's just a horrible thing, and kratom absolutely will do that. Frequent urination. The frequent urination just has to do with your body trying its best to work through all the kratom and expel all the kratom. That's where the frequent urination comes from. But the hesitation is something that is not talked enough about, I think. And that's something I've definitely experienced. Also drop in the comment, let me know if you experience that hesitation of not being able to pee. And then once you do start, you might stop. You might pee for a couple of seconds and then it stops again. You're like, oh man, like you have to get to a point of complete relaxation, and then finally you'll be able to, you know, get it all out and empty your bladder. But that is absolutely another side effect of taking too much kratom. TR3-999 says, making a kratom tea and not consuming the raw plant material lessens the side effects. I'm going to end on that because that's a really, really good one. You know, the way we take kratom here in our Western culture is not really the way that it was originally taken in the Eastern cultures, where kratom is actually grown naturally. They steep it and make a tea out of it there, where they extract. It's more of an extraction process where they take the alkaloids that actually give you the positive mood benefits. It extracts the alkaloids from the kratom. Then you steep it into a tea, you drink the tea, and you're not actually taking in all the plant material. That's actually the best way to do it, and the plant material is what the body and the digestive system has so much trouble, you know, working through, right? And I think that's where a lot of the side effects and the impact on your liver, your kidneys, your heart, all that other stuff comes from. So that's another thing. If you're going to look to take kratom, maybe you look at starting to do like a steeping process and making you a kratom tea as opposed to taking the powder itself. All right, I got to go. I'll hit some more comments next time. You guys have a great weekend. It's Friday here, wherever you're at. Hope it is there as well. Corey's out. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below if you would. You guys have a great weekend. Peace.